Now we get underway with the final heats for Senior Rotax. It's Heat 6, Groups B versus C, and here is your starting order. Matthew Higgins and Macaulay Bishop will make it an all-Dan Holland Racing and British front row, ahead of Jaden Teen and Jamie Pirelli, who ran out row 2. Paul Forquemen from France and the Netherlands, Dion van Verven completes row number 3. Ethan Jeff Hall and Austin Lee, row 4. Then we've got Jack Stedman and Vic Stevens completing the top 10. Mario Sidler and Canada's Laurent Legault round out the top 12. Head of Jane Lawrence, Magic Hemera, Alexander Adams-Acton, Zach Scowler, Paul Hamburg, Zombor Kovac looks to be a non-starter. Ahead of Christoph Sala with Luke Bates, George Holbrook and Matteo Pianezzola. Rounding out the grid here in Heat 6, Groups B versus C in Senior Rotax. So drivers weaving from side to side as the sunshine starts to really strike its presence here on the circuit. With 10 minutes on the clock plus an additional lap to conclude the final set of heats for the 2023 Rotax Max Challenge Euro Trophy season here at Paul Fletcher International. Kai Hunter has got 2 wins and a 4th. If Macaulay Bishop takes another victory, he will put it on pole for the pre-final. The field now concertinas as they head through the final corner. The red lights on the gantry, into the tram lines. Revs rise. Are we ready? Are we steady? Lights are out. First time we're underway. Who's going to make it to the Bruno Ferrari S's first? It's going to be Macaulay Bishop, keeping it very straight and true ahead of Matthew Higgins as they head up Uncle Tyrone's banking for the opening tour over towards the Litchfield Bridge. Everyone jockeying for position. We have had a turnaround at the back, in the mid-pack of the field, and someone's ended up at the rear of the field itself as they head down towards the first hairpin. And in 3rd position at the moment, that's Jamie Pirelli. Jaden Thien now is in 4th place. 5th is the 377 of the privateer CRG entry of Dion van Verven. Both he and his dad, they've done it like that for a number of years. So through into the Mike Wilson complex on the opening tour, the field starts to go as Macaulay Bishop will now bring them out of the final corner to complete lap 1 as the new race leader, having got past Matthew Higgins on what was a pretty good start from the youngster from Hoddesdon. So Jane Lawrence up to 10th place, just behind Jack Stedman. Vic Stevens is now 8th. And Austin Lee holds station in 7th. So the drivers make their way down the dip from the Litchfield Bridge, heading into the first hairpin. So they are line astern between the top 4. They were covered by just over 0.6 of a second after the opening lap. Macaulay Bishop in clean air, running with a 57.934. That's the fastest lap of the race, but Matthew Higgins will look to get past Macaulay Bishop very, very shortly. Jamie Pirelli keeping pace with them. A couple of kart lengths back from the 392, based out of Essex, is Jaden Teen. Macaulay Bishop runs over the curbs coming into the final approach onto the start-finish straight and continues to lead after the 2nd lap of the race. 8 minutes to go plus 1 lap. Line astern between the top 3, covered by just under 3/10. A bit of a jockling for position. Just outside of the top 5, round about where Dion van Verven and Austin Lee is. Paul Forquemen has dropped to 7th. Maybe he's back up to 6. Change for second position. Well, nearly a change for second position there. Jamie Perilli was trying to go up the inside of Matthew Higgins. He's going to try and do that through hairpin number 2. Higgins runs a little bit wide. That gives the overspeed to Jaden Teen, who pulls to the left-hand side of the 392. But the 380 from the Netherlands can't get through. Dion van Verven has got some clean air now. He's about 1.4 seconds behind Jaden Teen. So the 377 has the opportunity to push forward in clean air. Macaulay Bishop now opens up a lead to just over half a second over Matthew Higgins. And Bishop with a new fastest lap of the race, 56.914 seconds on lap number 3. They're jockeying for position as they go up the hill through the banking and onto the Litchfield Bridge. So top 4 were covered at one point by just over 6/10. It's just over a second now. So rounding out the order at the minute is Paul Hamburg from Estonia. Lauren Legault has dropped all the way to 20th position, having started on the outside of row number 6. So 6.5 minutes still remain for Quemin and Vic Stevens. Line astern, the two Dams Racing team drivers. They've got Austin Lee right behind them, the 379, based out of Weisendorf in Germany. Family originally from Portland, Oregon in the USA. And Austin is currently 4th in the championship standings. He's 2nd in the current Rotax Max Challenge Germany standings. Behind, funnily enough, Montego Maassen, who has competed against Vititis before. I still remember being at Wittgenborn in Rotax Germany for their season finale in 2020. And that was before heading to Adria Karting Raceway for what was that year the final round of the Euro Trophy that season. Now the drivers pushing on from the second hairpin through into the Fullerton S's. Still line astern between Paul Quemin and Stevens, but Austin Lee is starting to catch them. Out of the trio, Austin Lee was the quickest. It was 1/10 that covered all 3 drivers. Vic Stevens, Piggy in the middle, was slowest, and Austin Lee was the fastest. Going up to the halfway point, and the 2 leaders were covered by just under a 1/10.5, 0.133 to be precise, as Bishop still hangs on to the race lead. And he's not relinquished that since the entry into the Bruno Ferrari S's on the start just over 5 minutes ago. Now Matthew Higgins dives up the inside, retakes the lead through hairpin number 2. Exit out of the Fullerton S's, and Jamie Perilli has got the ringside seat, waiting to see what transpires in front and whether he can take full advantage of the situation at hand. Fastest lap of the race, Matthew Higgins, and was nearly 0.2 of a second quicker than Macaulay Bishop. And now the gap between him and Bishop extends to, well, it was just under a 1/10.5 last time round. Just over 3.5 tenths has been gained by Matthew Higgins on the last couple of laps alone. Paul Hamburg now up into 19th, ahead of Alexander Adams-Acton. Luke Bate now ahead of Jane Lawrence, who was at one point in the top 10. George Holbrook just about half a second behind Jack Steadman in the number 934 Tony Card entry from the UK. So coming down to the final 3.5 minutes. It's been very, very much a game of chess at the front end of the field, with Higgins now leading after what will be lap number 7 of this race with 3 minutes and 20 remaining. Bishop riding on his coattails. 0.2 is the gap. Bishop looks to have a little bit more momentum carry going through into the Bruno Ferrari S's and up the hill through Uncle Tyrone's banking. Change for 6th position. So Vic Stevens might have just launched it up the inside of Paul Quemin and made the move stick rather neatly. But Higgins looking to pick up his 2nd victory of the weekend so far. Might put him at, well, I'm not too sure if that might put him ahead of Macaulay Bishop. If Macaulay Bishop stays where he is, well, that'll be a victory, a win and 2 second places for the 937 with Dan Holland Racing through Bobby Game Corner. They're both pretty much line astern and into the Mike Wilson complex. They continue to run that way. Two minutes 25 still to go. Fastest lap of the race has been set by Ethan Jeff Hall, who's currently down in 9th. 56.434. Bishop looking one way, then the other. Probably trying to see if he can coerce Matthew Higgins into an unforced error. But that's not an easy task to contend with at the best of times. Dion van Verven, in the meantime, has closed on up to Jaden Teen, who's dropped off the back of Jamie Perilli. The gap between them is around about 1.2 seconds. Van Verven, Stevens, for Quemin, Austin Lee, Ethan Jeff Hall, as we've got a scrap at the back end of the field, which includes Laurent Legault, Magic Hamera, and I think that's Alexander Adams-Acton at the back end of that train. Higgins still leads the way as we will have this plus 2 more additional laps of racing. We're on to lap number 10 out of 12. As, could be a change here. Van Verven, I think, has just gotten past on Jaden Thien, and he has done so. He made the move before the Litchfield Bridge, up Uncle Tyrone's banking. And Vic Stevens is starting to hunt them down. Another new fastest lap of the race, Ethan Jeff Hall, who's just 2/10 off of his teammates at Strawberry Racing, Austin Lee. 56.341 seconds. And Austin Lee has got past Paul Ford-Quemin. He's put the Frenchman between him and Ethan Jeff Hall as they head into the Mike Wilson complex. So 2 laps remain. Leaders cross the line, and it's Bishop ahead of Higgins. There's Jamie Perilli waiting in the wings. Over the Litchfield Bridge for what will be the penultimate time of asking. The 937 from Hoddesdon in Hertfordshire makes his way down to the opening hairpin out of 2 here at Paul Fletcher International. Hard on the brakes, rotate the car through the hairpin. And it's the same again, but just in the other direction when it comes to the steering wheel. More juxtaposing for position because now, as Dion van Verven got away from Jaden Thien, well, Vic Stevens got through. Jaden Thien looks to launch it up the inside through the Fullerton S's. As the leaders now make their way through the Mike Wilson complex once more. Last lap board out this time. 1,382 metres for Macaulay Bishop to negotiate. But will Matthew Higgins have a say in the matter? As we go down to the wire, Higgins sweeps wide into Uncle Tyrone's banking to get the overspeed. Perilli is there, waiting, biding his time for the opportune moment to strike. Now Bishop pulls to the right-hand side of the run down to the infield hairpin at hairpin number 1. Higgins looked to the left, so did Perilli. Perilli looking again to try and get the switch back. Can't get it done on that particular occasion. A little bit further back. Some more battles happening. Jaden Teen has been battling away now with Paul Ford-Quemin. Ford-Quemin might have just had George Holbrook get past. But now Jamie Perilli gets through out of Bobby Game Corner into the Mike Wilson complex to take second. But Macaulay Bishop springs a surprise. He's going to take the win, and that puts him, by my provisional calculations, as the leader after the ranking after heats with 2 wins and a second position. Kai Hunter will be alongside him on the front row with 2 wins and a 4th place, and I can guarantee you this, Matthew Higgins will definitely be at least on the second row of the grid, right up at the sharp end. So Macaulay Bishop wins it. Jamie Perilli second by just over 0.23 of a second. Matthew Higgins will have to console himself with 3rd, but also picked up the fastest lap of the race. Dion van Verven showing good pace in the Privateer CRG in 4th. Vic Stevens, Austin Lee, Ethan Jeff Hall, George Holbrook, Paul Ford-Quemin and Jaden Teen round out the top 10. Zach Scowler, Jack Stedman, Luke Bate, Mario Sidler, Jane Lawrence, they complete the top 15 with Christoph Saller, Matteo Pianizzola, Paul Hamburg, Lauren Ligor, Alexander Adams-Acton and Magic Chimera bringing up the rear of the field in 21st, with all 21 drivers completing the 12 laps of racing and a non-starter for Hungary's Zombor Kovács.